the god of Santana. Did you guys know that in the early 1990s, Carlos Santana from the band Santana admitted to being in contact with an angelic being from another dimension? So anyway, let's talk about it. Who is Carlos Santana? For those of you who don't know, Carlos Santana is from a rock band called Santana. It's an American rock band that was formed in San Francisco in 1966 by Mexican-born American guitarist Carlos Santana. As with many other rockers, Santana admits that there is a spiritual entity behind his music. Santana claims that he had had contact with the dead spirit of Jimi Hendrix. Santana claims that his first initiation into the spiritual world took place when he first ingested an illegal psychedelic in the 1960s. Other musicians, such Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, claim to have experienced some type of spirit control. Santana claims that while he played Woodstock, the mecca of rock and roll, his guitar became a serpent before his eyes and inspired the way he played, which has made him famous as a rock guitarist. Santana admits that his success is tied to a spiritual entity named Metatron. Woodstock was a defining moment of the 1960s. It remains one of the most famous music festivals ever. The festival is known for its great performances. It's also infamous for its rampant drug use. In 1989 interview with Rolling Stone, Santana discussed his decisions to do drugs. Before his performance at Woodstock, when we first got there, around 11 in the morning, they told us that we weren't going until 8, so I said, hey, I think I'll take some psychedelics. And by the time I'm coming down, it'll be time to go on stage and I'll feel fine. But when I was peaking around 2 o'clock, somebody said, if you don't go right now, you're not going to go on. Because of this, Santana went on stage while high. According to the book Carlos Santana, a biography, when Santana was on stage, he thought his guitar was a snake he had to control. This caused him to make strange faces while performing with his band. And this is the spooky part. In fact, the book Carlos Santana says Santana later watched the performance on television. He said he felt like he was looking at a completely different person. He also said that the snake he was supposedly playing was an electric snake.
This thing again, just, and then the sound of hearing the music coming from within me, through my body, through my fingers, through the amplifier, to the speakers, up into the audience, as far as you can go, and then come back to you. It was a scary thing.
So yeah, that's the reason Carlos Santana was making those weird famous, because he was hallucinating and he really thought that his guitar was an electric snake that he had to control. In fact, he had no control of his body, because Carlos Santana stated that when he was watching himself, it's like he's watching another person. Carlos Santana has stated that he came in contact in the 1990s with an interdimensional angelic being that called himself Metatron. Here's this disturbing expert from the Rolling Stones magazine. Metatron is an angel. Santana has been in regular contact with him since 1994. Carlos will sit there facing the wall, the candle's lit. He has a yellow legal pad at one side, ready for communications that will come. It's kind of like a fax machine, he says. Carlos Santana told Rolling Stones in the summer of 1999, more than half a year before his stellar showing at the 42nd Annual Grammys. I know it sounds new age, but in my meditation, this entity, which is called Metatron, he said, we want to hook you back to the radio airwave frequency. We want you to reach junior high schools and universities. Once you reach them, because we are going to connect you with the best artist of the day, then we want you to present them with a new menu. Let them know that they are themselves multidimensional spirits with enormous possibilities and opportunities. We want you to present them with a new form of existence that transcends religion, politics, or the modus operandi of education today. And this is in the Rolling Stones magazine, summer of 1999. In the cover story of The Epic Life of Carlos Santana, March 16, the year 2000, he says that Metatron is the architect of physical life. Because of him, we can French kiss, we can hug, we can get a hot dog, wiggle our toes. He sees Metatron in his dreams and meditations. He looks a bit like Santa Claus, white beard and kind of this jolly fellow. Metatron, who has been mentioned in mystical disciplines throughout the ages, also appears as the eye inside the triangle. Aleister Crowley would promote the eye inside the triangle in his book, The Book of the Law, as the most significant symbol of Satan and as the guiding light of the new age to come. Carlos Santana claims that Metatron uses Santana's music to connect people with their own divinity. Santana believes that people are their own gods. He states that Metatron wants something from me, and I know exactly what it is. The people who listen to the music are connected to a higher form of themselves. That's why I get a lot of joy from the CD, because it's a personal invitation from me to people. Remember your divinity. Through meditation, Santana says that the demonic spirits tell him what to write for his lyrics and music. He again states in Rolling Stone's magazine of March 16, 2000, page 41, you meditate, you got the candles, you got the incense, and you've been chanting, and all of a sudden you hear this voice.
Write this down.
Any spirit that is not the Holy Spirit is a familiar spirit, a demon. Santana has been taught the doctrines of devils by none other than Sri Chinmoy, the world's foremost teacher of Kundalini Yoga. This apparent entity wanted Santana to get in contact with the biggest stars of the day to create a new album. So the whole plan was not only to release an album, but an album that would go above and beyond all human social structures altogether. His album was appropriately titled Supernatural. Now here's the creepy part. Santana hadn't been on the charts in any serious way for over a decade or longer. It wasn't popping off for him, but apparently the entity Metatron had the solution for him. Santana was told to connect with the pop stars of the day. Basically, it was a spiritual mission to sell out as hard as possible, and it actually worked. Santana went out and scored collaborations with artists including but not limited to Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20, Lauryn Hill, CeeLo Green, Dave Matthews, Everlast, and Eric Clapton. After he made the album Supernatural with these other artists, in 1999 this heater slammed straight up to the charts. It went 15 times platinum. It won the Album of the Years at the Grammys, plus 8 other Grammy Awards. It even scored 3 Latin Grammys including Record of the Year. It has sold over 30 million copies and took the #1 spot on the charts in over 10 countries. Now things get even creepier than that, because many of the artists that Santana collaborated with on his album Supernatural were brought to him supernaturally to be part of Metatron's project. In fact, many of these artists that he collaborated with were communicated to in dreams and were told they were to be part of this project. Many of these other artists stated that Santana came to them in a dream and told them about this project. So even before Santana sent out the call, these artists already knew what they were going to do. So with all of this in mind, by definition, Santana is a practicing witch. Witchcraft in its most basic understanding is seeking power, guidance, or wisdom from any spiritual source other than God. There are only 2 sources of spiritual power, God and Satan. Leviticus 19:31 states to regard not them that have familiar spirits, to neither seek after wizards, to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. So the Bible condemns dabbling in familiar spirits of any kind that is not the Holy Spirit. So there you have it. Carlos Santana admits to being in contact with spiritual entities. And he's not the only musician to admit this. I've talked about this throughout plenty of my videos. There are a bunch of other musicians and bands. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this content and you would like to support, I do have a Patreon. Link is in my bio down below. Please like and comment and share this video. A new video will be up soon. Thank you so much, and we are out. Till next time.